Good morning. And today is kind of a special day because, assuming everything goes well, this will be my last day here in Mae Sot, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning on my scooter to head to northern Thailand. So basically I'm heading north to go to Mae Son, to Pai, to Chiang Mai, to Chiang Rai. I have about a month and a half to play around with because I have to be back in Mae Sot by January 24th to return to immigration once again to apply for another 60-day extension of stay to remain here in Thailand. But I'm basically free from tomorrow, which will be December 8th, all the way up until January 24th to do what I want. And the reason I'm so free is that I've left my room at the Green Guest House. I've stayed there throughout the entire pandemic, basically, but I finally gave notice in November, so that was my last month at the Green Guest House. And I'm currently in a different hotel here in Mae Sot. This place is called the Retro Twin Home, a small family-run hotel. It's got very much a hostel vibe. When I go downstairs, I'll show you a little bit of the place, but they have a common area, common room, very much like a hostel. It's got guitars, bicycles. One entire wall is a world map, and guests are encouraged to put a pin on their home city, from whatever country they're from in the world. So I think a lot of foreigners stay here at this hotel. It's very popular with foreigners. And the owner speaks English, and he's very outgoing and very friendly. And I think he runs an elephant sanctuary, and he probably helps people, organize tours around Thailand. Anyway, it's that kind of a place. And I have a really nice room up here on the top floor, room number 3. There's my bed behind me, king-size bed, and it comes with a refrigerator, nice bathroom, and I'm sitting at my window. So there's my window looking out over a residential district of Mae Sot. I'm sort of out in the neighborhood near the Robinson Lifestyle Center. So I'm on the opposite side of Mae Sot from where I was before at the Green Guest House. And this room even has a nice little balcony here. Kind of a smoking balcony. I don't smoke, but if I were a smoker, I could sit out there and have a cigarette. I'm doing something a bit unusual with this video, by the way, because I'm jumping ahead in time. I recently went on a scooter trip to Sukhothai, and I have not had any time at all to edit the videos that I shot in Sukhothai. And my plan was actually to sort of stay here in Mae Sot and get caught up on those videos before I leave for the north. But I'm just going to abandon that plan because I'm so eager to get on the road. And I want to bring my videos kind of more up to date. So we'll see whether it happens, but my plan is to shoot this video today and post it tonight. I just want to sort of have more casual videos showing up on my YouTube channel, just documenting my scooter ride to the north. Just short little video clips of experiences here and there, rather than shooting large videos of an entire day of activities and then editing the whole thing. And I'm going to just sort of change it up a little bit, and I'll continue to work on the videos from Sukhothai. I think I will end up with 5 videos in total. My trip to Tak City, then my trip from Tak to Sukhothai, then a day at the museum, then one day in the historical park, and then a second day in the historical park. So I think I will eventually come up with 5 videos, 5 full videos from Sukhothai, but they're not done yet. But I'm so eager to get going on this scooter trip that I'm going to set them aside for now. I'll work on them in the background, and they'll pop up on the channel out of sequence, mixed in with these videos from my scooter trip to the north. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. And I ended up in this hotel, a very weird story. I'll try to tell it briefly. I did leave from Mae Sot. My goal for my first day after I left the Green Guest House was to be on the road. I just wanted to leave the city limits, ride north, and I was going to stop in this small town called Mae Sot. spend the night there, maybe 2 or 3 nights there to kind of regroup. My main goal was just to escape from Mae Sot and then be on the road. And I did that, but oh man, by the time I left from my room at the Green Guest House, I was exhausted. I had a lot more to do than I realized. And I didn't get any sleep at all the nights before. I don't know, I was just really busy. My brain was overwhelmed. And as I was on my scooter leaving from Mae Sot, I just was a wreck. And I wasn't ready for even small adventures on the road. So I rode to Mae Sot, which is only 30 kilometers away. And my plan was to stay at a hotel there I'd seen in the past. It's right beside the hot springs where you can boil your eggs. And I thought it was a low-budget hotel. But I showed up there, and it turns out it was 1,200 baht per night. So it's kind of a hot springs resort, not a low-budget countryside hotel. So when I heard the price of 1,200 per night, and I knew I wouldn't take advantage of the hot spring tubs or anything like that, so it really wasn't worth it to me. And I was so tired that rather than continue to the north and just keep riding and riding and riding until I found another place to stay, I decided to just turn around and I rode the 30 kilometers back to Mae Sot, and I checked into a low-budget hotel here in town called the Panu. And I spent one night at the Panu. It's your basic low-budget place, 350 baht per night. So I could stay there for 4 nights for the price of one night in Mae Sot, which is why I decided to come back here. And, the Panu is perfectly fine. It's a bit of an older hotel, casual, informal. You won't find it on Agoda or Booking.com. It's not that kind of place. A lot of foreigners stay there, again, as usual. It's well known amongst the foreign community. So I spent one night at the Panu, and then a mystery benefactor of my YouTube channel found out I was staying there and knew I wanted to work on some videos from Sukhothai. And he booked 2 nights for me at the Centra Hotel, which is kind of a luxury 4-star hotel here in Mae Sot, a big place, full-on breakfast buffet, nice rooms, swimming pool outside, exercise room, the full, 4-star suite of services. And he felt it would be better for me to stay there in comfort working on my videos. So he generously booked me 2 nights there. And I went to the Centra, checked into my room there, but it turned out that their Wi-Fi wasn't working. I mean, it was working, but it was so slow and unreliable. I couldn't do anything. I uploaded one video to YouTube, and that one video took 27 hours to finish uploading. And I was trying to do some other things, but I needed internet access, and it just wasn't working. So I didn't get as much done at the Centra. As much as I enjoyed my stay there, particularly the breakfasts. The 2 breakfasts that I had there were amazing. And it is an older hotel, so I don't think it quite lives up to its 4-star rating anymore. I'd bump it down to a 3, if you fold in the professionalism of the service at the counter, the fact that the staff all speak good English, and it has that high-level vibe, though the physical conditions of the building, I think it dates back to the 80s or maybe even the 70s, and it's showing its age. So I don't think it really qualifies for a 4-star rating. 2.5, 3, maybe. And I think the exercise room was shut down as well. The roof had been leaking, and the parts of the roof had caved in. So the exercise room was closed, though I wouldn't have used it anyway. There was no power when I checked in. They were undergoing maintenance, and the power was shut down for the day. And it didn't return until, late in the afternoon, which was another surprise I wasn't expecting. But I didn't get as much done at the Centra as I had hoped, and I wasn't ready to leave Mae Sot yet. So I moved from the Centra to here, and I've spent 3 nights here at the retro twin home. I still had a bunch of things to do in Mae Sot. I still have more things to do, and I'll take you with me today as I go run my errands. So I stayed here for 3 nights, very comfortable here. I've had a really good experience, a laid-back kind of hostel setting, as I said. Really quiet room. I guess the place has been full because this was a holiday weekend. but I haven't heard a single other guest moving in and out. Yeah, I've been very comfortable and very productive here. And I'm staying here one more night tonight, and tomorrow morning I'll be leaving on my scooter. So that kind of brings you up to date. I'm fully vaccinated. I have my vaccine certificate. I have my vaccine passport. I've downloaded the More Prom government app that I can show at hotels if they request a vaccine certificate from me. I can show them the app, has all my information on it. The scooter yesterday, we brought it in for servicing, oil change, brake fluid change, new brake pads, pumped up the tires, I think new spark plug. Everything was kind of changed on the bike. It's running beautifully, running smoothly. And so that's ready to go. The one thing that was missing from my life is that the temperature has really come down and I needed a jacket. So I spent a good chunk of yesterday shopping for a jacket, but nothing in Mae Sot fits me. Everything is too small. Every jacket I tried on, the sleeve barely came to my elbows. So I had trouble finding anything. But I found one jacket in the whole city that fit me. And I'll show you what this thing looks like. It's really quite funny. There it is over there, bright orange cotton jacket. So the hope is that this is what is going to keep me warm when I go to the north. And apparently I am a dancer in the U.S. National Athletic Department, and I am a dancer number 90, according to the number on the side. The missing snap and all these little stains on it indicate just how long it's been hanging on the rack at this store, because it's way too big to fit anyone in Mae Sot. These sleeves are like super long, and they go all the way down to the bottom of my wrist, so it fits well enough. Really funny thing about this jacket is, despite how big it is, the brand is a children's brand. Smart Dog Children's Kids XXL. So I have no idea what's going on here. What kind of child is this big? But it's not the kind of jacket I would normally buy for a trip like this. I mean, it's not a windbreaker. It's just cotton. You know, it's like a fleece more than anything else. But that was the best I could do yesterday. So that's what I have. Another big change is my helmet, because the helmet I was wearing, the visor, I don't know what happened. It went foggy. I suddenly couldn't see out of it anymore. I didn't do anything to it. It's not like this was something that happened gradually over time, or maybe it did and I didn't notice. But suddenly, as I was riding to Mae Sot and coming back again, I couldn't see anything. And I thought, well, if I'm riding through the mountains of northern Thailand, all that beautiful scenery, I want to be able to see around me. And on that helmet, I couldn't lift the visor because the way it fit and the way the visor worked, when you lifted it, the wind would catch underneath the visor like a giant sail, and then it would just sort of rip the whole helmet off my head because it doesn't fit that tightly. And then even if I tightened the strap and had it tightly fit, I could feel the wind blowing against that visor and pushing up on the helmet and pulling up on the neck strap and kind of choking me. And then if I turned my head to the side, the wind on the visor would like kind of twist that. Anyway, it was not a great helmet, I guess, and I've been using it for my entire time in Mae Sot. I guess I just got used to it. But because the visor got so foggy, I went out looking for an alternative, and my first plan was to just remove the visor completely, and instead of wearing a helmet with a visor, I was going to wear plastic safety goggles. So I went to a hardware store and I bought these plastic safety goggles. You know, clear plastic, brand new, gives me a perfect view. And I thought I could just remove the visor from the helmet and then just wear these instead for protection from the wind, but more than that, protection from bugs, because as you're riding along, you know, at high speed, one of these big beetles, as I ride the scooter, lots of these huge insects will hit the visor. And every time that happens, I think, man, I'm glad I had that visor down, because that big beetle, you know, really would have hit hard if it hit my eye or something like that. So I do like to have eye protection. So I thought I would do this with the visor, but then I met up with the man who rents me the scooter, so that we could do all the tune-ups and get the new brake pads. And he just suggested he had another helmet at his house that I could use as part of the scooter rental. So here we are. Look at that. New helmet. Very different style. The other helmet I had was more open, so it didn't have covering over my ears, which was good in a way because it allowed me to hear more around me. But quite often the only thing you hear is the roar of the wind, right? So I wasn't sure whether I'd like this helmet or not, but I was using it all day yesterday and I love it. Let me put it on. There you are. My new helmet, visor. The visor's nice and clean, nice and clear. And it's just a more comfortable helmet. It fits better. It's got a tighter feel. It's quieter when I'm riding, but I can still hear enough. And the strap is nicer. It has kind of a ratcheting system, so you can pull it tight and then pop it off again more easily. It's so much better. Makes me laugh that I wore and used that, to be honest, pretty horrible helmet all this time when I should have tried out a higher quality helmet right from the beginning. But better late than never, as they say. So this is my new helmet for the road. Pretty excited about that. And other than being 5 Sukhothai videos behind, I'm pretty much ready to go. But I do have one more errand I want to take care of because I got my jacket, but I'm also struggling in the pants department. And there's a bit of a funny story here. I'll see if I can whip through it quickly. I had this older pair of pants, a bit thicker, a bit warmer, which would be better for this trip to the north. I'm wearing them right now. But these pants had worn out completely. They're North Face, high quality, expensive outdoor technical gear, you know, that I bought in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur when I was there. But I wore these for a long time in Indonesia when I was cycling and bike touring. And I guess the sun was blasting the tops of the pants when I was riding the bike, because, you know, when you're riding the bike, your thighs are kind of parallel to the ground and the sun is beating down on them. And I was wearing them quite a bit when I was actually riding the bike. And the movement of my knees, I guess, wore out the material on my thighs and on the knees. So even though the material in the rest of the pants is still okay, the material on my thighs and knees had gotten so thin it was like tissue paper, and you could just poke your finger right through it. So what I thought, maybe I could just bring it to a tailor, and I brought it to a local tailor here, and my idea was to take this whole section at the front on my thigh and on the knees, cut it all out, and just sew in brand new material here, and then here and here. Just replace all this material. And I didn't care if it was a different color. I didn't care what color it was. All I wanted basically were giant patches. And I talked to the tailor and we discussed this, and I thought that we understood each other and what it was I wanted. And then I left, came back a couple days later when it was ready, and instead of doing what I thought we had agreed on, he had actually tried to repair it. So all the tears in the material, he had sat down, or he had his staff sit down at a sewing machine and sew all the tears together. And he did a very nice job, and it looked great, but I knew it wasn't going to last. And sure enough, right after I left the shop, I think it was the very next day, actually, I sat down in a chair and the material tightened over my knees, you know, as pants do when you sit down, and it just tore wide open again. You know, here you can see where he repaired it, this long gash, and this long gash down the bottom, and then this one up here, and then all along here. These are all giant tears in the material, and he sewed them all together, but it did no good because all the material is worn out and it's just tearing in a brand new spot. So that whole repair process was a complete waste of time. And that means I mean, I can still wear these for a while. I don't care that the pants are torn, you know, I'll wear them as long as they last. But there is an army surplus store here in Mae Sot. I discovered it yesterday, and they may have a pair of pants there that I can buy, and then I'll just throw these away. So that's where I'm going right now. I'm going to go to this army surplus store because they got mountains of stuff everywhere. And yesterday I didn't have enough time to really relax and rummage through all the piles. And these pants are really expensive though. I noticed they have these tactical outdoor gear, high-tech imported pants, and they're charging like 1,700 baht for them. But if I can find a pair that fit me and are really nice, it might be worth it to me, because those kinds of pants tend to last me for years. I'll buy a pair of those and wear them nonstop for years until they wear out. So anyway, I'm gonna head to the army surplus store and take a look around in my new helmet. That's my room, room 3. As I said, I really like this room because it's up at the top and at the end of a hallway, and it's very quiet up here, and I can do as much, you know, YouTubing and things that I like, and I'm not bothering anyone. And here's the retro twin home. As I said, it has very much a hostel vibe. Map of Europe there, postcards, kind of displays, I think, from NGOs selling arts and crafts. A lot of artwork on the walls, Vespas and Triumph motorcycles. Oh, and it looks like they were doing some cleaning in here, so the sofa got moved. There's the giant map of the world. And if I left a pin, it would be right in there somewhere. No one has left a pin from my hometown yet. The closest is Detroit there. But my hometown is in Canada, on the other side of the border, near Detroit. So I could put a pin there. And like I said, they've got guitars here. Oh, another world map down there with lots of pins. That must be the older map. And there's the front desk. And in the back, they actually have an operating kitchen, and they have quite an extensive menu. Thai food. Let's see if I can track down the menu here. Looks like they're doing cleaning here in the lobby, so all the furniture is moved around. But here are all the various rooms they have. As you can see, everything is nicely labeled in English. So yeah, I think they do cater a lot to foreign visitors. Each room is slightly different price. And then they have, quite an extensive menu here, room service. They'll make this right here on the spot. And next door, they actually have a Western-style pizza parlor where you can get pizza and other kinds of, Western dishes. Yeah, this is the menu from the restaurant next door. There it is there. The Retro Cafe and Pizza Bar. So yeah, you can get burgers and chicken wings and pastas. Yeah, pizza, garlic bread, all that kind of thing. I've been so busy since I moved in here, I haven't even had a meal from their kitchen or from the restaurant. But it all looks very good. New helmet. I've been learning all kinds of new things recently, things you'd think I would have learned a long time ago. And I learned something about the scooter that I had no idea, because the owner of the scooter took it one day to get it worked on, maintained and tuned up. He brought it back to my guest house at the Green Guest House, and he left it there for me. And when I came back out to get the scooter, I couldn't start it because I couldn't get the key in the ignition. A cover was now closing the ignition area. And I had never seen this before. I had no idea what was going on, and fight as I did with this thing, I couldn't get it to open up. And I'm sure everyone in the world knows about this but me, but I didn't know about it And this is what I'm talking about. There's the key slot, but I can't get at it because it's closed, and there's a little pin here, and I'm trying to push the pin in, I'm trying to move it, and I could not get that open, and I had no idea how to do it. I was essentially locked out of my own scooter. So I contacted the owner and him in an embarrassing fashion explained to him that I had no idea what was going on. Like, how do I open this cover? And he explained to me that on the key, there is a special little gizmo on the end, and you stick that in and turn it, and it opens up the slot. And I think this is magnetized in some fashion. So I'll show you how this works. So there's the ignition slot, and this is like a key, and this rubber section goes into here somehow, and then you turn it, and it opens up, and now you can put the key in. I had no idea this was here, and now I've noticed that everyone does this all the time. All the scooters at the Green Guest House that belong to other people, when they remove their key, they would close this all the time. But I'd never noticed it before. I'd never seen anyone else do it. But I guess it's a security measure. Makes it a little bit more difficult for thieves. So that is something else that I learned. And here is the outside of the retro twin home, by the way. Right behind me. I think the sun is hitting it just right to get a nice view of it. So there's the hotel. That's my room up there, the big one. And there's another big one over there. I think those are the two nicest rooms. The other ones are smaller and they don't have windows. So I think if you stayed here, you'd really want to get one of these two rooms. And this is the retro cafe and pizza parlor. So this has been my home for the last 3 nights and one more night to come. And yeah, I've been very comfortable here. So time to hop on the scooter and head towards the Army surplus store. I'll fire up the GoPro when I get there. After a quick drive, I'm here at the Army surplus store. And from the sign up above, I see it is called the Sunny Shop. It's one of my favorite places in the world, these sorts of, it's Army surplus, but they tend to have a lot of other gear as well, tents, camping equipment, and this shop seems to import sort of maybe defective technical gear from other countries. I just get the feeling that it was sort of like factory rejects that end up here, but maybe they're still in good condition. Maybe one seam was mis-sewn or something like that. Who knows? But anyway, they're always fun places to roam around. And I came here the other day looking for a jacket, and I was interested in this one here. Just your basic black windbreaker with a little bit of a raincoat, I guess, and pockets and Velcro. But that's the only size they have. And the sleeve, once I put it on, the sleeve barely came to my elbow. So that didn't work out. But down here, they seem to have a bunch of tents and knapsacks and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to roam around here for a little while and see what they have for sale. Army surplus for me is always sort of an interesting topic because, Army surplus makes you think that it really was Army equipment that wasn't sold to the military, but it's probably designed specifically for the Army surplus market. I don't think any of this was really intended for the actual military. It's just meant for the general public, but it just has, military stylings like camouflage, coloring, and then when you get into the, camping gear, it has that sort of hardcore, cheap but functional sort of military design. But at the same time, I don't know that I would be comfortable in a camouflage tent, wearing camouflage faux military clothing because, as a foreigner overseas, I just don't want to come across as looking like any kind of soldier. So even though I come into these shops all the time just to rummage around, I don't actually buy camouflage gear. But they do have some tents up here I thought I would take a look at. Yeah, to be honest, with my full backpack right now, with all the camera gear that I have, I don't really want to add camping gear to my load. I think that would end up being too heavy. But I can see a tent being somewhat handy from time to time. All the tents that I saw in the stores here were really small, like children's pup tents, about 5 feet long. And I could kind of, if I curled up, I could lie down corner to corner diagonally, but even then I could barely fit inside. But they were very, very small and light and cheap, at about 400 baht, I think, for a tent. And I could take one of those, but like this one would be better, I suppose. But yeah, it's quite large and heavy. If I were in a car, I'd definitely pick up one of these tents and toss it in. But I think this is too big and too... This is a 4-person tent, yeah. So that's why it's so big and heavy. And yeah, I don't see smaller ones. Like all the tents here, I think, are 4-person models. But of course, the problem with bringing a tent, suddenly you want to sleep in the tent. Well, you probably want some kind of a thin mattress on the ground. Now you're carrying that, and then you want to cook, and before you know it, you're carrying too much gear. But anyway, I just thought I'd look around at the tents just for fun. And this is the other half of the store. So here at the front, they have all, the doodads, adapters and batteries, and carabiners, cook stoves, water bottles. Yeah, I'm just going to spend a few minutes looking over this display. Places like this are always full of treasures. Just found a lighter shaped like a hand grenade, a mini hand grenade, and yeah, basically a lighter. There's all kinds of flashlights, hunting knives, scopes. So a lot of this gear is meant for hunting. And they even have a lot of military patches. So I guess you could deck yourself out for the Army or the Navy or the Air Force, whatever you wanted to do. And then here in the back is the area I'm most interested in, because there are all these piles of pants and shorts and jackets and things. And I think you have to kind of rummage around on your own to see if you can find anything. And they had this jacket yesterday, but that's like a full-on winter jacket. It's really thick. And I think this is the only one they have, the only size they have anyway. It says XXX large, but yeah, that might actually fit me, but I mean, that's like going back to Canada kind of jacket. I don't think you need that for Thailand. This is where I was yesterday, when I might have found a pair of pants to suit me, but it was too big, 38-inch waist. But I thought I'd want to rummage through here. Maybe I can find a smaller pair. Oh yeah, this is the one here that kind of caught my eye. These pants. I don't know the company. Advance Series. YKK zippers. Always a good sign. They're sort of high performance, breathable, lightweight, quick drying. From Innovate199.com. Cargo pants, basically. Just has all the pockets. And they fit really nice. The problem is they're 38-inch waist. And I'm putting on weight lately, but not that much weight. I'm inside the change room at the Army surplus. And I tried on, 8 different pairs of pants and haven't found anything, because the sizes are all over the place. In one brand, a 40-inch waist is way too small for me. And in another brand, a 36-inch waist is way too big. So the sizes I see on the pants don't mean anything at all. They're kind of funny to try on because they're all military and police related. So they all have names like tactical strike gear And they talk about the pockets as being perfect places for your pepper gas and this kind of knife and that kind of ammunition. Oh boy, still working my way through the piles. You wouldn't think it would be so difficult to find a pair of pants that fit. This one is still my favorite style in terms of the cut of the pants and the pockets and everything, and the thinness of the material. But this one is way too big. But way down, I asked them if they had it in other sizes, and they just said no, this was the only one they had. But I just found another one, so I'm kind of on a treasure hunt here. So I'm going to see whether this other pair is a smaller size. There it is. Same one, I think. Same color, same style. Now we just have to find the size. Drum roll. Oh, 36S. So 36 small? What does the S mean? This one is 38S. And those almost fit, except the waist was too big. So maybe the 36S. I never like to see the word S or the letter S on anything. I want everything to be loose fitting. I hate tight fitting clothes. Well, those are 38s and they're too big. These are 36s. So let's give these a try. As I said, they're expensive pants. A lot of the ones that I've seen here is just such a variety. I'm pretty sure that they are like factory rejects from overseas. And a lot of them came with price tags from the original manufacturer. And I think they just kind of charge the same price here. So it ends up being, being pretty expensive. All right, let's go try these on. Back in the dressing room. Takes a lot out of you trying pants on. This ceiling is so low, I have to crouch down in order to fit in here. It's really hot. Unfortunately, these 36S's don't fit. I think the S does stand for small. Like most of these pants, the problem with them is there isn't enough room between the bottom of the crotch and the waist. So the waist size might be okay. This inseam might be the right length, but then you just can't pull them up. They just kind of sit way down on my hips. And then when you try and bend over, the pants just sort of pull down. They're just not big enough around the hips or something, like from the crotch upwards. They're too short. All these pants are like that. Anyway, I'll put these back and keep rummaging. That is it. My shopping expedition failed. I swear I looked at or tried on every pair of pants in there, even remotely possible, but none of them fit. And the funny thing is, while I was in that changing room trying on all these pants, every time I took off my current pants and bent down to take them off and everything, I ended up tearing open the knee further and further. So by trying to buy new pants, I completely ripped apart my current ones. But I do have one other pair of pants. It's just that they're a very thin material. It might be too cold for up in the mountains, so that's why I thought I'd come here and look for another one. And a couple of them were just maybe in the ballpark. I could probably sew up the seam and tighten them, like a 38. That was way too big. These ones I'm wearing now are actually too big, and I had to sew the waist myself to tighten them up. I just never find pants that fit. And I would have done it if the prices were reasonable, but these are very expensive pants for where you're buying them. You know, these are $50, $60 US for these pants, and that's just a lot of money to pay for pants that you're not entirely sure you actually want. So I'm leaving. Maybe I'm going to head out for lunch. This is one of my favorite places in Mae Sot, by the way. I just stopped here to pick up a couple of snacks, and really cool about this place, I mean, these are really, really good, but they also have a bakery in here, and they make all kinds of interesting snacks. All of these cookies. Yeah, these are all really tasty. And as far as I know, they do all their own baking in the back there. Everything you see on this table right here, they actually make it here. Yeah, it's all really good stuff. So I have to visit all of my favorite places in Mae Sot before I leave for my trip to the north. And I bought some a new gizmo for tying my GoPro to the scooter grips. This is some kind of a twist tie dispenser, and you can pull as much twist tie as you want out, and then it has a little blade down here at the bottom where I guess you cut it. So every time you need a piece of a twist tie, and I use this to wrap around my GoPro so that it doesn't vibrate and fall off the scooter. There we are, all firmly in place. And this is the downtown area of Mae Sot that I'm just leaving from. That's where the Green Guest House is located. And my new home, the retro twin home, is off in this more commercial district, different part of the city. It's not that far away though. Now I'm in my new neighborhood. It's actually a pretty good neighborhood, really. The hotel itself is in a residential chunk of streets, but it's very near this main street. And when you come out here at night, there's a ton of food here all up and down this street. You can get all kinds of food at the side of the road. It's really convenient. Right on my right is the Gigahertz computer shop. And that's where I turn right. And then right in here, the retro twin home is just in one of the streets back here. There's the turnoff, and there's the sign for the retro twin home. Looks like it's been up there for a while. Kind of sun blasted. And the hotel is nestled just over here on the right. Not sure if their restaurant is open today or not. Just arriving back at my room at the hotel. I was just talking with the owner, and like everyone in the tourism industry, he has an interesting story to tell, because when the pandemic hit, of course, his business dropped considerably, because he has not just the hotel, but also runs kind of a tour company as well, going to the, I guess, elephant sanctuary and to other places. Whew. And he had to adjust when all of his customers, the guests in the hotel, kind of stopped coming. And he adjusted by taking the kitchen in the hotel and turning it into a home delivery service. So, yeah, and he cooks now. Yeah, he's cooking all the time, he says. When I came back just now, there were like Grab delivery guys waiting outside, and then they're coming here to pick up orders to deliver to homes around Mae Sot. So that's one way he's making money for now. And he was just telling me he just came from the hospital where he got a vaccine. A while back, he got the first dose of Sinovac. And now at the hospital here, he says they have both Moderna and Pfizer. And when he goes in to get vaccinated, he can choose between them, whichever one he wants. And he said, he read, I don't know whether this is true or not, but he read that the company that makes Moderna announced that Moderna is not proven effective against Omicron, the new variant. So he went for Pfizer. He doesn't know that Pfizer is effective, but Pfizer, that company, hasn't said one way or the other, so he thought he might as well. He knows for sure Moderna said it is not effective against Omicron, but Pfizer, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, he doesn't know, so he went for Pfizer. Yeah, he's down there cooking right now, so I was talking to him about what I can order for dinner tonight. I'm looking forward to that. So I'm back in my room, king-size bed, and I'm going to settle in for a little while here and do some planning for my trip tomorrow morning. I didn't get any new pants, so I have stylish ripped pants for a little while. See you next time.